When we think of the largest animals to ever walk the earth, our minds inevitably turn to the dinosaurs. But millions of years after their reign, a mammal evolved that challenged their scale, a titan that pushed the absolute limits of biology. Imagine a creature standing nearly 5 meters tall at the shoulder, with a head that could peer into a second-story window. It weighed up to 20 tons, as much as a small herd of African elephants combined. This was Paraceratherium, the undisputed largest land mammal of all time. But here's the surprise. This long-necked, colossal beast was a rhino. It had no horn, no thick, armored skin, and a physique more like a giraffe than the stocky rhinos we know today. This presents a profound evolutionary puzzle. How did a member of the rhino family grow to a size that seems almost impossible for a mammal? What unique anatomy and what vanished world allowed this land leviathan to exist? To answer that, we must piece together the story of a giant whose bones were scattered across an entire continent. The story of Paraceratherium's discovery is as vast and fragmented as the animal itself. It was not found in a single spectacular skeleton, but pieced together over decades, from enigmatic bones unearthed across the breadth of Asia. This led to a great deal of confusion, with the creature being given several different names: Indricotherium, Baluchitherium. As different teams found different parts of the puzzle, it was like trying to describe an elephant when one person has found a tusk, another a leg bone, and a third a rib, all thousands of kilometers apart. The hunt began in the early 20th century in the Bugtai Hills of Baluchistan, in modern-day Pakistan. There, the English paleontologist Clive Forster Cooper found colossal but incomplete bones of the neck and feet of a gigantic mammal. He named it Paraceratherium, meaning near the horned beast, recognizing its relationship to rhinos. At around the same time, Russian paleontologists working in Kazakhstan uncovered their own giant bones, naming their find Indricotherium, after the Indrik, a mythical multi-horned beast from Russian folklore. The crucial breakthroughs came in the 1920s, during the famed Central Asiatic expeditions to the Gobi Desert. Led by Roy Chapman Andrews, this team uncovered more complete skulls and skeletons, allowing paleontologists to finally connect the dots. They began to realize that the bones from Pakistan, the monster from Kazakhstan, and the giant from Mongolia were all variations of the same creature. It took decades of painstaking work, but as they assembled the pieces of this continental jigsaw puzzle, a coherent blueprint of the giant began to emerge, revealing the unique biological engineering that made its incredible size possible. As the blueprint of Paraceratherium became clear, it revealed an animal that defied its family origins. While a rhino by ancestry, its body plan was a case of remarkable convergent evolution with giraffes. It was an animal built to live life in the treetops. Supporting its 20-ton weight was an immense biological challenge, solved with a suite of ingenious adaptations. Its legs were not bent like a typical mammal's, but were thick, straight pillars positioned directly beneath its body, a graviportal stance just like a modern elephant, designed to bear immense weight with maximum efficiency. Its three-toed feet were broad and padded to act as massive shock absorbers. To lift its head to the high canopy, it had a long, muscular neck, but supporting such a heavy structure required a specialized anchor. The vertebrae above its shoulders were elongated, creating a prominent hump. This bony ridge served as the attachment point for a massive nuchal ligament and powerful muscles that ran up the neck, acting like the cables of a suspension bridge to hold the head high without constant effort. Its skull was surprisingly small and graceful for such a giant. It was hornless and featured a deep, arched opening for its nostrils. This unique feature has sparked intense debate about its facial appearance, and its teeth were unlike any modern rhinos. At the front of its mouth, it had two pairs of tusk-like incisors, one pair pointing down from the upper jaw, the other jutting forward from the lower. These were not for defense, but likely for manipulating branches. This incredible anatomy, the legs of an elephant, the neck of a giraffe, and a skull all its own, was a masterclass in supporting colossal weight. But the skull's strangest features hint at a highly debated and specialized feeding tool. The skull of Paraceratherium, with its deep nasal arch and peculiar tusks, points to a highly specialized way of feeding. This was a mega herbivore, and its sheer height gave it exclusive access to a food source untouchable by any other mammal of its time. The high canopy of Oligocene forests. Like a modern giraffe, it was a dedicated high browser, a life that prevented it from competing with smaller herbivores on the forest floor. But how it ate has been a long-standing scientific debate. The deep, retracted opening for its nostrils is a feature seen in mammals with muscular, mobile snouts, like tapirs or elephants. For many years, this led paleontologists to reconstruct Paraceratherium with a short, trunk-like proboscis. However, more recent analysis of the muscle attachment scars on its skull suggests a different and perhaps more familiar tool. The evidence points not to a trunk, but to a large, muscular, and highly mobile prehensile upper lip, much like that of a modern black rhino, but on a colossal scale. We can now picture this gentle giant at work. It would use its long neck to reach high into the trees. Then its powerful, grasping lip would wrap around a branch, pulling it towards its mouth. The tusk-like incisors would then be used to strip the leaves from the stem, while its large cheek teeth ground the tough vegetation. Its life would have been a slow, constant quest for food, moving through the forests from dawn until dusk, consuming hundreds of kilograms of leaves every single day just to fuel its immense body. But for such a creature to thrive, it needed an environment that could support its colossal appetite. It needed a world of endless forests. This picture of a slow-moving, high-browsing giant constantly eating brings the animal to life. But for such a creature to exist, it needed a very specific kind of world. A vast, stable, and incredibly productive environment. It found that world in the Oligocene epoch, which lasted from 34 to 23 million years ago. During this time, the Earth was warmer, and much of Central Asia, where Paraceratherium thrived, was not the arid desert it is today. It was a vast, subtropical realm of endless woodlands. These were not dense tropical jungles, but likely semi-deciduous forests and riverine woodlands that stretched from the shores of the shrinking Tethys Sea deep into Asia. This environment was a paradise for a giant browser, offering a year-round, inexhaustible supply of leafy vegetation. In these forests, Paraceratherium was the undisputed king. A full-grown adult, by virtue of its sheer size, would have been almost immune to predation. The largest carnivores of its time, giant creodonts and bear dogs, would have been a threat only to the young, sick, or very old. It shared this lost world with a diverse fauna, smaller ground-dwelling rhinos, giant pig-like beasts called entelodonts, and the ancestors of many modern mammal groups. But Paraceratherium stood alone at the top of the food web, the giant keystone herbivore shaping the very forests it fed on. For millions of years, this stable, productive ecosystem provided the perfect cradle for the largest of all land mammals. But the Earth's climate is never static, and a slow, inexorable change was coming that would unravel this giant's world branch by branch. For millions of years, the reign of Paraceratherium seemed unassailable, but its world was built on a climatic knife's edge. Towards the end of the Oligocene, around 23 million years ago, a slow but dramatic geological event began to seal the giant's fate. The ongoing collision of the Indian subcontinent with Asia was pushing up the Himalayan mountains and to the vast Tibetan plateau. This immense new mountain range acted as a colossal barrier, blocking moisture-rich air from reaching the heart of the continent. A great drying began. Central Asia, once a realm of lush woodlands, started to transform. The climate became cooler and more seasonal. The vast, unbroken subtropical forests that Paraceratherium depended on began to shrink, fragment, and retreat, replaced by more open, arid savanna and grassland. For the giant rhino, this was a catastrophe. It was a hyperspecialist. Its entire anatomy, from its long neck to its prehensile lip, was designed for browsing high in the trees. It could not adapt to eating tough, abrasive grasses. As its world shrank, its size became a liability. Like most giant mammals, Paraceratherium would have had a very slow reproductive rate, with long pregnancies and years spent raising a single calf. As the forests fragmented, its populations would have become isolated, unable to find new territory or recover from the mounting environmental stress. At the same time, new, more adaptable herbivores like early elephants began to spread across the continent, competing for the dwindling resources. The giant was trapped. Its food was disappearing, and it could not reproduce fast enough to outrun the change. The largest land mammal of all time slowly starved into extinction, a silent victim of a changing climate. The story of Paraceratherium is a testament to the sheer scale that life on land can achieve. This hornless, long-necked rhino was an evolutionary masterpiece, a creature perfectly and exquisitely adapted to a world that no longer exists. Its record-breaking size was not a fluke, but the result of a unique anatomy and a stable, resource-rich environment that lasted for millions of years. But its legacy is also a profound lesson. Its immense size and specialization, its greatest assets, ultimately became its greatest liabilities. The land leviathan's rise and fall is a powerful reminder that even the mightiest of creatures are inextricably linked to the health of their planet, and that no animal is too big to fail. If you were amazed by the story of the largest land mammal ever, subscribe for more deep dives into the giants of the prehistoric world.